Quilters Newsletter TV, the Quilters community, is brought to you by Husqvarna Viking, keeping the world sewing for over 140 years. Hi, and welcome to Quilters Newsletter TV, the Quilters community. I'm Mary Kate Karr-Petras, and I'm back again with our friend Karen Charles, who's an event specialist with Husqvarna Viking. Karen, hello.
Hi.
Today you're going to show us some techniques for adding texture and embellishments to our quilts, right? And how we can do that on our machines.
Yes. So let's look at a couple of things. If you look at this block here, you'll see the fabric is totally texturized, and it may be a little bit, hard to figure out what happened. But really, it's a simple matter of, instead of using regular thread in the bobbin, using elastic thread. And that's something we find in our sewing department. We tend not to think about it in quilting, but you really can change the dimension of quilt and really give it a whole new character.
Do you just free motion?
That was done free
stitch?
motion. If you wanted it to be something that was more, right over there we have a sample, that white one.
This one here?
This one was done in embroidery. If you look at it, you'll see that that's the back and the front, but it was done in embroidery, and the lines were created and sewn, and it totally shrunk it up.
And a completely different look from
and
this
a completely
one.
different look.
Very cool.
So this is regular lines. This one is just free motion, and I like the free motion better for that. But maybe the regular is better for some other things. This is done with heavier cords and the bobbin, and so a lot of these techniques are just simple ways of embellishing your quilts to add a lot of texture and dimension. We won't probably get to doing the beading in this one, but maybe another one, they'll invite me back. So let's go on to the project we're working with today.
Okay.
This is a little quilt that I'm working with. I tend to work on small quilts because I can experiment, and if it doesn't go right, it's not the end of the world.
Okay.
I can easily add on to it, cut something off. But notice here, you're going to see that this is a heavy, embellished look to it. And when you look at the ribbon, this is a silk ribbon. I'll lay it down next to it. It's hard to imagine that this stitch created this look.
Right.
And so depending upon the decorative stitch you choose, you're going to get a different look. We're going to show you how to put it in the bobbin, wind the bobbin, and it's actually very easy. You can wind a bobbin by hand, but it's a lot easier if you use your machine. We're just not going to put it through the bobbin winder, the whole tension.
Okay.
Okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start, I've put my bobbin on, and I'm just going to go over toward the top, lock it in, do it twice, and now I'm going to engage my bobbin winder, and my goal is to kind of keep the ribbon. You can see how I'm kind of straightening it out as it goes. So if you let it go straight, then you're going to find that it's going to have a lot more texture. And so you can just keep winding it. For what we're going to be using, we're not going to probably need much more than that. We can stop the machine and cut our ribbon, and we're ready to go.
There you go.
Now, a little different, we're going to be changing our bobbin case out because we want to have a little bit of a deeper groove. So our bobbin case, if you look at it here, you'll see the back of it is kind of shallow. We want to use our specialty bobbin case, which if you look at the back of this one, you can see how much deeper it is. Do you see how deep that is?
I do.
And that lets the heavier ribbons and cords and all that kind of stuff sit into place. It also, we can adjust and play with our tensions. We don't have to worry about it. In this case, we're bypassing the tension. We're not putting tension in it at all. We're just going to put our bobbin case in and set everything in. There's no screws. With the Husqvarna Viking, all the stitch plates just come off like that. And now we're snapping it back into place, and we're ready to put our bobbin in. We're going to tuck it in, and we're going to bring up our bobbin thread. Normally, we don't bring up our bobbin thread when we're sewing. We just leave it down there, and it pulls it up automatically. In this case, I'm going to put the needle down, and then I'm going to put the needle up, and I'm going to manually bring up. You saw how quickly that ribbon came up, right?
Popped right up.
Popped right up. Sorry, get my hands in the way here. And we're just going to pretend like it's a thread. Let me get it out of there. I've got to cut my foot. Might have to do that. And so now we've just got a regular sewing foot on. We're going to put our cover back on. And now we're ready to start stitching.
Okay.
What's different when we're working and doing something like this is we don't sew from the top side. Remember our ribbon's down in the bobbin? We're going to be turning it upside down, decide where we want it to be. And you'll see on the stitch on the machine I've chosen, it's just an interesting stitch. And every stitch will change the look of it and give you a different kind of feeling for it. So up in this top area, I can see the other stitching that I've added. And so I'm going to just go in and fill that area. And when I start, I just give it a slow start, make sure everything's good. And then I can start picking up speed.
Now this is not free motion stitching,
this
is programmed
regular
stitch.
sewing stitch that's on there. And if I really want to add a lot of dimension to it, I stop with the needle down and I can turn around and go backwards, and I can build up as much texture as I want by just going over it. We should cut that thread off so we don't get hung up on it. It's not going to look anything like the stitch when we're done. And stop, and I can come over it again. I'll go one more time just to give you a little bit of an idea of how heavy you can make this. You can see I'm not working at it at all hard. It's just building up a lot of depth to it. And then when I'm done, I can lift my foot up. Usually I don't use the scissors because I want to be able to go in. I don't want to pull all that out.
Sure.
But look at how much
Oh, wow.
that is added.
Right.
Can you see how heavy that looks?
Yeah.
And look at
And like
that
you
up.
said, you don't see that stitching, that decorative stitch or
Right, it
that
doesn't look
sewing
anything
stitch,
like
no.
the stitch that you see on the machine.
Fantastic. Well, let's take a look at the next technique that you're going to show us.
And so we're going to take out the bobbin, and we're going to just put our regular bobbin back in. Now, and I love just experimenting with every stitch looks a little different. The ribbons really build up. You can put two different colors together. There's some absolutely gorgeous silk ribbons that are two-toned. So, you know, experiment with the width of them. This one's a 1/4 inch wide. If you used a narrower one or a thicker one, you'd get a different look also. So right now, if you look at this stitch right here, this was how it was created. Now, I have more yarn here than I did here. Here I used 3 pieces of yarn, and here you can see I have quite a bit more.
Right.
So when I was doing this one, I used a 7-hole cord foot, and I just put them in a few of the places. I think I put them in 3 or 4. This one, the holes on this foot is 3-hole yarn foot. You can see, I think, how big the holes are where the yarn go. So you can put as thick a yarn as will fit in there and move through, and you could put many, many different layers of it. And you'll notice down at the bottom, I've kind of left them hanging because that's going to be part of the quilts. I'm not going to cut them away, and it's going to be part of the edge of it.
Which is something you see when you look at art quilt exhibits.
Yeah. It just gives another layer of, afterwards I can put beads on them, you know, especially you notice up here I've got beads, so it's a way of just continuing the embellishment. And I'd like to do these type of quilts because generally I'm a very structured person and I like everything square, and I fight all the time to get out of the box.
Yeah.
So for me, these little quilts are a really great way to play around, experiment with techniques.
The stakes are low.
Oh, absolutely.
And the materials are a lot of fun.
Yes. And what's nice about not having a big commitment of time is this is something I've only been stitching on for a couple of hours. So even if I don't like it, I can put it aside, come back. I guarantee you a week from now I'm going to look at it and think, that's so fun, I need to get back to it. Because it is something that you can pick up and put away and come back to very easy. So it's satisfying in that way. So you can see I've got the yarn in, and I can pull it freely back and forth. And now I'm just going to decide where I'm going to put it. In this case, let's say I'm going to put it here, so that way you'll be able to see it. And I'm going to choose my stitches. Now, when I go to choose the different stitches, we have some fabulous stitches. A lot of them are very different, and they all have a purpose. We're going to choose one that is a little different on the left than the right. And that's what kind of gives you a little different look here. Most stitches are symmetrical, and they have the same look on the left and the right. This one looks a little bit different, and so this is the one I'm going to choose. And all I'm going to do is put my foot on the pedal and let the yarn stitch through. You can see it's not being held up at all, and I'm just letting it go through. And I can create my curves in the direction that I want to go. And you're going to start to see coming out of the back of the machine, it's starting to look pretty interesting. What do you think?
It's beautiful.
Isn't that fun?
Yeah.
Now I could, if I want, stop and just let it be like that. And I'm going to leave this just hang here because I'll figure out something else to do with that. This might be a nice place to add some beadwork too.
Yeah.
So we're going to lift it up. If I wanted the yarn to stay on here, what I would do is take the foot off, or I can just let it pull off like that.
Okay.
And it will come back in, and I'm just going to cut my threads. And now we can sit and we can look at the way it is. You can see how much heavier this is than this, and it's just the yarns that are down there. Depending upon the colors you use, it'll totally change the look of it.
And the sparkle in your yarn is still showing through, even though you've got that a little bit heavier stitch happening.
And you can put more yarns, you can put heavier cords, whatever it is that you want to do.
Fantastic.
I like the idea of just seeing it here. I'm thinking this would be perfect. I can thread some beads onto here, and then I'm going to couch them down just the way that I did over here.
Just keep playing.
So,
now let's take a look at these adorable
aren't these
appliques.
cute?
Yes.
These are new. They're patent pending stitches. They're very different. They're applique right in the machine. So I'll stitch out one and show you how they work because they really are. There's a whole menu of stitches in here.
Do you want to use the sample again?
Yes, we'll stitch it right on there. I think our sample needs a couple of mice. So we're going to do that, and I can put them right here. I'm going to change my foot. This is the one that I want, and you can see my mouse on the screen. It asks for the S foot, and so I'm just going to slide it right on, and now I'm ready to go. So most normal stitches, you use your foot pedal and you sew. This one's a little bit different because it's got stops that are programmed into it. So we're going to use the foot pedal when we sew. So right now, I'm going to start sewing. And if I use my foot pedal, I'm not 100% sure where I'm going to stop. So I'm going to use the start button. And we've got an orange mouse. It's starting with doing the tail. It doesn't look like too much right now. And it's doing the mustache, and I'm going to stop the machine with the needle down. It's always a good idea when I quilt. I'm going to lift the foot up, and I'm going to put this piece of fabric down underneath, just like that. That's not too hard, is it?
No.
And then I press the start button, and it's going to go back and applique the mouse's body into place. What do you think?
I can't wait to see how this...
And it's going to keep coming down, and it's going to do another one. And I'll do this last one, and then I'll stop. So it's ready again. I lift the foot up.
So it knows when to stop
for you to
insert the fabric.
And it knows when to start.
Got it.
So it looks kind of complicated. It looks really interesting.
Well, I thought it was from the
all of them are
embroidery
done
machine.
like that. No.
But it's not an embroidery
They're
machine.
all regular decorative stitches.
That's too cute.
And then once you're done, I can stop it. I'll lift my foot up, and then I can pull it out. Now you can see, whoops, you can see this one. Let me go up here. And if I cut this out, I'm just going to cut the fabric away. Might have to do this a little quickly here. And there's my mouse. So it looks kind of very odd with the orange thread, but you get a better idea. If you look here, see the way that works? That's the way it is.
Yeah.
Here on the orange, we can't really see it as well, so you get a better job.
So
yeah, I'm afraid.
Compare and contrast, as it were.
Yeah, this is really cute, isn't it?
Well, we would use the orange thread for
yes, I know,
being shown on camera.
And you can see what difference the right thread makes.
It's adorable. It's really adorable. These are just literally the tip of the iceberg.
Oh,
we could do a few episodes just about your
embellishment.
embellishments. Well, thank you for bringing these to us and showing them to us. We hope that you enjoyed this, and we hope that you found something that you can use in your next project. We look forward to seeing you next time. Take care. Bye-bye. Quilters Newsletter TV, the Quilters community, is brought to you by Husqvarna Viking, keeping the world sewing for over 140 years.